Hey up everybody, welcome back to the I'll Do Cycling YouTube channel, where today I'm going to be doing a preview of the VELOGAMES San Sebastian. It's been a while since we've done a Superclasico video, so let's jump in and take a look at the riders to see who's going to be best to be putting onto our teams. Of course, Remco Evenepoel should probably go onto your team. He is a two-time winner of this race, he knows how to win here, and warming up for the Vuelta, I expect him to be probably in some pretty good form right now. So Remco, probably somebody who you need to put onto your team. His teammate Alaphilippe, probably not as necessary considering that he wasn't that great during the Tour de France. So a lot of riders who do well in San Sebastian come off of the Tour de France. Not necessarily, if they've done fantastically well in the Tour, but, that is generally quite a good indication. So Alaphilippe, maybe not that great. Benoot, on the other hand, will probably be the leader for Jumbo-Visma, and I do think that Benoot, finishing on the podium last year, should be doing pretty good in this race as well. Binny and Matthews, I just think that this race is a little bit too hard for them. I expect them to maybe be in a second or third group, kind of sprinting for a top 10 place at best, to be honest. Turn's probably not the greatest choice when they've got Woods here as well. Arambaru might do something, but I expect him to be in a similar group to Michael Matthews. Mollema usually finishes inside the top 10 in this race. That's kind of like his very outstanding record that he has in this race. He is usually very good. Ulissi, there is also Hershey and Juan Ayuso, so I'm not sure who UAE are choosing, but their press release seems to indicate it Ulissi. But I just think that Hershey winning a race the other day, I can't remember, it was one in Spain, and also Ayuso looking quite good too, although Ayuso did crash, but we'll get onto him in a little bit. Bardet crashed out of the Tour, so we'll wait and see how he's recovered from that. That's just a bit of an unknown. I do think that somebody safer would be Pello Bilbao, because he did really well in the Tour, 6th place in GC, winning a stage. So why would you not go with Pello Bilbao? I don't really know. Hershey, like I said, is also a good choice. He won a race the other day. Very good at one-day races, but you never quite know when Hershey's going to do well or not, so I think that Bilbao's perhaps a little bit safer. Two other choices in the 18 credit bracket are Mike Woods and Simon Yates. I would say that Yates is a safer choice overall. He did good in this race last year trying to follow Remco. Woods won up Puy de Dôme, but didn't do that much else in the rest of the Tour, so a bit of a question mark over him. I do think that he'll finish top 10 though, to be honest with you. 16 credit riders, honestly, I don't really rate many of them. I think that maybe Paulus will be your best one, considering that he's a previous winner of this race, and he did look decent at times during the Tour. 14 credit riders, Ayuso, like I said, he did crash the other day and he was kind of clutching his wrist, so I'm not sure whether he's got an injury from that, but if he is okay, then I think that he will be a very strong candidate for maybe a podium place or a top 5. Bargioli won a stage of Tour of Wallonie recently, so therefore I think that he could get assist points on a potential Remco win, and maybe also a top 10 from like a second group. So I think that Bargioli is another good one to be going with. Guillaume Martin might finish top 20, and Jonathan Navarez had a very clean sweep at the Tour of Austria recently. Was very dominant there. I know it wasn't against the strongest competition, but Navarez is looking in decent form, and if he's climbing well, could definitely be a threat for the top 10. Although his teammate Carlos Rodriguez will likely be the leader of Ineos in this race, because he finished top 5 in the Tour, and he looked good in this race last year. Rodriguez is an absolute almost must-have, but he did crash at the end of the Tour, so I'm not really sure how he's feeling. Skelmoser, I think he went quite deep helping Ciccone, so I'm not really sure how much legs he's got left, but he should be fighting for the top 10 in my opinion. Schoins, I'm not sure, I think he'll be a domestique, but he does sometimes have the ability to pull out a good result, especially in San Sebastian, where he has finished inside the top 10 before. 12 credit riders, of course, they're the Lidl Trek teammate of Giulio Ciccone, KOM classification winner, looked good in the kind of latter parts of the Tour de France, so therefore I think that Ciccone is a good choice. Jonas Aguirre won a stage of the Tour, so look out for him as well. Jorgensen possibly could be the leader for Movistar. He did leave the race a bit early, so maybe he's feeling a bit fresher than other competitors. Mathieu Bergadeau finished 2 times inside the top 3 in the Tour this year, probably the leader for Total Energies. I think he's looking in really good form and could be a bit of a differential pick if you're looking for somebody a little bit different. Ben O'Connor could be another alternative 10 credit rider, considering that he finished also 2 times in 3rd place in the Tour from breakaways, and therefore, because he wasn't fighting in GC, could be a little bit fresher, kind of similar to Matteo Jorgensen. 8 credit riders, honestly, they're not that great, other than George Zimmerman, who is at the bottom here. I think that he will be the leader for Intermarché. He was climbing very well. Think back to that Col de la Loze stage. Although Maxime Van Hils did finish 2nd up the Grand Colombier, and you've got Andreas Leknesund, who was climbing good in the Giro d'Italia. So you could go for either one of those guys. 6 credit riders, I presume we'll be needing to use some of these. Roger Adlia finished just outside the top 10 last year, so he could be one who you might want to go with. There's also Felix Engelhardt, who won a stage of the Vuelta Castillo recently. But there's mainly Felix Gall, who was in outstanding form at the end of the Tour de France, and therefore I think that he will carry this into this race. So I say that Gall is the best 6 credit rider to be going with. There's also Romain Gregoire, who did good in the Tour de Suisse recently, finishing 12th place GC, 13th place GC. Finished top 10 inside Stadi. Very strong puncher. This is a parcours that suits him. I think that Gregoire should be the leader for Groupama FDJ. There's also Ben Healy, who finished second behind Hirscher the other day, and we know how strong Healy is over punchy terrain like in the Ardennes. He did so well. Lefebvre won into San Sebastian in the Tour de France on stage 2, so therefore he should probably have good memories of this, although he did crash towards the end of the Tour and DNF, so therefore I'm not sure how he's feeling. So I would likely favour a Gall or a Healy over Lefebvre just from a safety aspect. But other than them, there's also James Shaw. He had some good flashes of form during the Tour, but he did leave early because of a crash, so we'll wait and see whether he's recovered from that or not, but definitely an outsider to be considering. Kevin Vermaak was climbing good for DSM, and if Bardet's not in good form, maybe Vermaak gets his own opportunity here. And Stephen Williams finished just behind Bargioli in that stage of a Tour of Wallonie, and in a contract year, I do think that Stephen Williams is probably looking for a decent result to try and secure a new contract, and I think that San Sebastian is a race that certainly suits him. And then in terms of the 4 credit riders, the only one which I really like is Victor Langalotti, the Monegasque rider. He has had some decent climbing performances this year, and maybe he finishes inside the top 20. So that's a pretty quick rundown as to who I'm thinking is going to be good for this race. I actually think that the best team in this competition, well, for San Sebastian, could not actually equal 100 credits. It wouldn't surprise me if you see a lot of those 6 credit riders I was mentioning doing quite well in this race. So let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. Do you think I'm right about that? The team that will be best won't actually cost 100 credits? And also let me know what you're thinking in terms of team structure in the comments down below. And all that is left to say is to stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video. Salut!